What is up, guys? Welcome to my trailer breakdown for The Flash, Season 5, Episode 3, titled The Death of Vibe, which is a pretty crazy title for an episode of The Flash. But before I break down the actual trailer, let's watch it.
We gotta catch this guy fast.
He's one of the worst serial killers in history.
Sherlock Wells, I'm here to get your killer.
Let's hope we're not too late to save his next victim.
Cisco.
Flash, all new this Tuesday at 8/7 Central on the CW.
Going off this trailer, it seems like this episode might be an extended version of the last couple minutes of the second episode, which, if that is true, then this episode will probably be pretty awesome, because the last couple minutes of episode 2 were some of the best minutes on The Flash in a really long time, like ever since the scene in Enter Flash Time where he ran through the Speed Force, which was also one of the best minutes of The Flash ever. And ever since then, the last 5 minutes of the second episode of season 5 were the best episodes, the best minutes since then. And this episode seems to be an extended version of those minutes, where it is just Team Flash against Cicada, and that is something I'm very excited to see, because like I said, the last couple minutes of episode 2 were so awesome. To see an extended version of that in this episode, a full 42 minutes of just Team Flash against Cicada, sounds pretty awesome to me. So we hear Iris say that Cicada is one of the worst serial killers in history. So obviously that's not exactly true yet. In 2018, he's only killed like 2 or 3 people. Actually, he's only killed like 2 or 3 metahumans, not normal humans. So at this point, 2018, not exactly the worst serial killer in history. He's obviously a bad person, obviously, but he's not exactly one of the worst serial killers in history. But the reason she knows this is pretty obvious, and that's that Nora Allen, who is obviously from the future, is going to tell everybody about the fact that Cicada from the future has killed probably dozens, if not hundreds, of metahumans at that point. So he obviously becomes one of the worst serial killers in history, but he is definitely targeting only metahumans. I doubt he's going to kill a single human being throughout his entire serial killer career. Only metahumans. The reason for that is probably, or not probably, but definitely going to be revealed in one of these episodes. Not this episode, probably like episode 7 or episode 9. Not 9, episode 8, because 9 is a crossover, but I just thought that usually 9 is like the big main villain of the season episode. This season, it's the actual crossover, so probably episode 8 or maybe 7, because 7 is usually a very main villain related episode, like in season 4. A big part of that was fleshing out DeVoe. So I think if not in this episode, which it probably won't be, in episode 7 his motivations will be revealed. Most likely it's the fact that he had a family and they were either killed by metahumans or indirectly killed by metahumans. That also explains why he didn't kill Barry right after Nora screamed "Dad" in episode 2, because he empathizes with anybody who has a family like Barry Allen does. He has a wife and a future daughter, so he empathizes with that because he probably had those two things as well, or not a future daughter, a regular daughter. Either he had them or he still does. Likely, I would guess that his motivation is the fact that metahumans either killed or indirectly killed his family, and that's going to be probably fleshed out, not in this episode, but a future episode. So there's a shot of Cicada in the West house about to stab Joe West, and you see he gets distracted by Cecile, who runs away, and I think that Cicada is probably going to chase after her. The reason he's in the West house is at this point unknown. I highly doubt he knows that Barry Allen is the Flash and is exploiting Joe West because of it. I think that maybe he has a way to track down metahumans, and since Cecile is technically a metahuman, she probably tracked a metahuman DNA to this house, where he thought Joe West was the metahuman, or maybe Joe West is the metahuman because Cecile did get powers after Joe West impregnated her. Maybe he has some metahuman powers that are related to that, which are the weirdest metahuman powers ever, but maybe he is a metahuman, and he's definitely not going to die in this episode, because we see shots from earlier trailers where he is kidnapped, or at least restrained to a chair, which means that Cicada has no interest in killing Joe. He just has an interest in restraining him, so Joe doesn't do anything about Cicada, so he can go after Cecile. So Joe definitely will not die in this episode. So he might die this season, though. I think that's a huge possibility. He doesn't really do much anymore. Like, literally episode 2, the entire episode he was just sitting on a chair reading a book, so I don't think it would be too far-fetched to assume that he would die in this season, but I do not think in this episode, because Cicada is probably not going to kill somebody like Joe, who is most likely not a metahuman, and on top of that, we already know he's going to get kidnapped in this episode from previous trailers, so at least in this scene, he is not going to be stabbed to death. So then we have our first look at Sherlock Wells, the new Harrison Wells, who is the fourth main Harrison Wells character after Eobard Thawne, Harry Wells, and HR. And at this point, I've said this a lot, but I don't think he is a necessary character. Who knows, maybe he's going to turn out to be the best Harrison Wells ever. That's very, very possible, but at this point, there's really no need for the character. I think the team is large enough, and they have enough personalities and superpowers and characters to have a cast that doesn't need a Harrison Wells. I think after our season 4, it really showed me how little they need the character and really the actor. I mean, I'm not saying the actor is bad. I think Tom Cavanagh is one of the best actors on The Flash, if not the best actor on The Flash. But at this point, he's not needed. He doesn't need to play Reverse Flash anymore. I think that Matt Letcher not only did him better, but he looks more like Harrison Wells, like Eobard Thawne. He is the real Eobard Thawne, so it makes more sense for Matt Letcher to play him. On top of that, none of the Harrison Wells add anything anymore, so I don't think this character needs to exist. That being said, it's possible for him to turn out to be a great character. Going off this one scene, he could be a little bit more serious than the other Harrison Wells, which could be very interesting. A little like the season 1 Harrison Wells, which is so serious he was evil, but this Harrison Wells could be more serious. Like Harry Wells was serious, but he was very jokey also. He was very comedic. It's possible for this Harrison Wells to be very, very serious at all times, but hear him say that he's here to get the kill or get the guy. I'm not really sure what he's saying. It's a little hard to understand, but he's probably here to hunt down Cicada, which I'm sure we're going to learn why and how he knows all about this in this episode, or maybe a future episode after this. So then we have the end of the trailer, which is all about the end fight scene with Barry and Vibe, or the Flash and Vibe versus Cicada. I don't know why Elongated Man isn't there. We'll probably find out why. Maybe he's just not around. He's doing something else. But this scene and this fight scene is going to be a huge, huge deal for the show in general because of the title of the episode, The Death of Vibe. And then we see in the trailer, Cisco gets stabbed in the back by the lightning dagger, and then his gloves are like on the floor and Barry is actually crying. Now, do I think Cisco will die in this episode? That's like the big question of the episode. It's really weird to me that they would title the episode The Death of Vibe. They've never ever done that before. That's a huge spoiler for somebody, a huge character, one of the biggest characters on the show, which is weird because he's not really a Flash character, but this show really made him a Flash character with the actor and the writing for the character and everything about him. So the fact that they're actually spoiling the death of one of the main characters in an episode, I just don't buy it. I don't think they're going to do that. I think this also there's kind of spoiling it in the trailer. I don't think they would do that. I think this is a fake out, and I think that the death of Vibe is kind of metaphorical, not meaning the death of Cisco Ramon, but the death of superhero Vibe. It's possible that he will lose his powers permanently in the episode. Maybe like the lightning dagger does have the power to temporarily take out your powers, but maybe if you get stabbed by it and it doesn't kill you, then I think maybe at that point it completely gets rid of your powers entirely. And I definitely think he won't die in this episode. It's practically confirmed that he won't die. The fact that they spoiled it in the trailer and the title, completely absurd. And the fact that Stephen Amell on Twitter posted a video of a bunch of characters who are going to be in the crossover. One of those characters, or one of those actors, was Carlos Valdez, who plays Cisco Ramon. So he's obviously going to be in the crossover, which means that he's still around on The Flash. It's possible that he's playing an Elseworlds version of himself, so it doesn't exactly confirm he's going to still be alive, but I highly, highly doubt they would spoil it in the title and in the trailer because he's one of the most beloved characters on the show. He's probably the second most beloved character on the show, right behind The Flash, or maybe the third, right behind The Flash and Reverse Flash. But yeah, I definitely don't think he's going to die in this episode because they just wouldn't spoil it, and he's probably going to be in the crossover if he's not being a Elseworlds version of himself. But that's really the big question of this episode. I think the chances of him dying, extremely, extremely low, but I do think he probably will lose his powers, and he won't be Vibe anymore. So anyway, let me know what you thought about this trailer in the comments down below. Me personally, I thought this trailer was a great trailer if it doesn't spoil the fact that Cisco dies, because again, I don't think it does. If it does, not a good trailer, because trailers should not spoil the deaths of characters, but if it isn't, it's a very intense trailer. It makes me very excited for the episode, because like I said earlier, it seems like a very extended version of episode 2, or the last couple of minutes of episode 2. But let me know all your thoughts in the comments down below, and if you like this video, don't forget to leave a like, share, and subscribe, and thanks for watching.